if you want to throw in the chat one cool fact about yourself on top of that, and Jen and I will kick it off to start.
Ooh.
Jen, you want to go first? One cool
Yes,
fact about yourself.
I'll say start by making sure for the messages that you have it on everyone versus just the host and panelist, so that everybody can see your fun fact.
I've blown that
Absolutely.
before. Yep.
I have to. Mine, I mean, we'll see if anyone can top it. Just a couple of months ago in February, I competed in the World Solitaire Championships in Miami, Florida, and did not win.
Um,
Hate to say, I'm not number one in the world, but I'm the top 100, and that is my claim to fame.
I was on Reading Rainbow. For anyone old enough to
Oh.
remember what that show is, I mean, I don't know if Mike's old enough, but I was definitely on Reading Rainbow as a child. So let's just go on that. So you ready to
With
kick off
LeVar,
what's it? No, I
LeVar,
was I was a kids on the street segment. They asked me if I thought aliens existed. So let's get this going. All right, fun facts away.
cliffhanger. I want to know if you think so or not. But we'll maybe we'll say that for the end. You can let us know at the end if you how you responded to if aliens exist.
Can do. That was my question. I'll tell you at the end.
I like it. So, here we are doing an interactive kind of, I would say, more engaging session, just in that there's a little bit of homework tied to it. We're going to do it live, though, nothing that you necessarily have to take with you, but I would go ahead and grab something to write with, either, pen and paper, or have like a notepad up so that you can take some notes and keep score, because this will be a scoring system. We are going to audit ourselves. And yeah, we have a firm that we are going to use as an avatar, if you will. So we'll get
Get
into that one
ready.
next. But go ahead and know that some of the go ahead. Some of the scoring systems, they're going to have certain weights, and so a little bit of math involved, but nothing too crazy. We'll use the calculator app if we really need to. But yeah, each section that we go through is going to have a section of 5 different criteria. So by the end, you'll end up with approximately 30 points as your high score. And then this will hopefully help you get a good bird's eye view of where your current marketing like currently stands. And there is an upside to keeping your score accurately, which we will get into in just a little bit. But yes, let's
Yeah.
introduce our
Ooh.
avatar firm.
Oh my goodness, this is happening. Okay, so if you found this picture of us at all funny or comical or giggly, a funny ha, then good. You can drop an LOL in the chat because we absolutely did too. All this started out was that Mike randomly asked us what our hypothetical law firm was. This is the name we gave, and then he showed us this picture, and so here we are. So we won't comment on which one Beauty and Beast is. This should be pretty obvious at this point if you ever spent 30 seconds talking to me. But we are going to use this as our hypothetical firm, and we are going to grade ourselves. I mean, we're going to grade ourselves from there's going to be again 6 sections, five grading points each, and we're going to grade ourselves and show you what we got. So again, granted, we are a marketing agency and we created the test, so we will do pretty well on this. But we'll go back and again. Well, then we definitely want to keep score on this at all.
I'm excited. Let's go.
All right, we're going to kick it off with blogging. As someone who's written, I mean, it's got to be close to 1,000. I think I've written over 1,000 blogs, but I mean,
Oh, at
this is
least.
this, yeah, at least I was a copywriter for 4 years before I started getting into this element of it. But I mean, according to Just Words, 90% of marketers use blogs, and they report that there's a direct correlation between blogging and website traffic and new leads. And like, okay, it's tough to kind of figure that out as to why a blog does that. And the reason being is that when people get referred to you, they're either going to go one of two places. They're either going to go to your website or they're going to go to your social media channels. So the referral gets them like 80% of the way there. What are those people looking for when they're on your website? What are they looking for when they're on the social media channels? But what they're looking for is anything on there that shows them that they can trust you. Like, for example, if there's a blog on there that answers their most common questions. I mean, someone who's a family law attorney. What's the first thing I should do when I'm served with divorce papers? Is it possible to lose full custody of my children? These are genuine concerns that people have that keep them up at night that you have the ability to answer. So you're forming a connection. Once they get there, you're reinforcing that referral. So the referral might get them to the page, but elements of the blog that build trust and credibility are actually going to get them to book. Like that is the point. We got to get them from 80 to 95 to 100. And so, yeah, it's the same thing. I mean, the other thing too, there's a nice derivative of blogging too, outside of just trust and credibility, which I say is the main point. But a nice offshoot of that is it's going to help your firm get discovered on AI search if they're done in a certain way, which we will talk about, and Google. I mean, also done in a certain way. Google's SEO, AI is GEO, generative engine of optimization. So this is the point we're going to start looking at your blog and what you're doing in your blog, and we're going to give you 5 points in which you can grade. So we're going to pop that up there. There we go.
Mhm.
So I want to make sure that when you're doing these blogs, you put the bottom line up front slash an executive summary. This is something we found that will get the work you put into your blog to actually show up on AI and actually be able to reinforce and refer you to a PNC based on what you've written in there. Now, I want those things to have titles, subheadings, and bolded list. The titles just can't be titles. They should be headings. Like if you ever go to a Google Doc, you actually want to make it a heading. You want to differentiate those sections. The other thing too is I want to know, does it answer a question that your ideal client would have in fewer than 600 words? And last 2 points here. Are the blogs centered on a practice areas you care about the most? Because I've met with people like, oh, listen, I'm trying to phase out PI, and I realize 90% of their blogs are PI articles. So again, that's the last thing. We want to make sure that you're writing to your ideal client, the cases you want to take. And then have you posted at least once a month for the last 6 months? Consistency, consistency, consistency. So that's good. Sue from Alabama, just saw your chat. Love it. All right, that is it for blogs. So we'll give you like a couple of seconds here to kind of give yourself ticks. Each one of these is going to be 5. It's going to be at the exact way at the end of this. So I'm going to just see this. Every slide we have is going to be 5 points. Should be easy to track. Six
Mhm.
six sections total. We just did blogging.
Well done. Yes. So far, right now, no one should have a score higher than 5. Maybe a bonus point if you laughed at the picture that Mike made of us. Well,
I'll
maybe
give you.
that one,
I'll give
but
you that. I'll give you that.
but yes, blogging, I think segues beautifully into the video FAQs. So this is our next one, our next point that we want to make sure that we hit on video. And according to HubSpot, about 60% of marketers reported that video FAQs have reduced the number of queries from potential clients, which equals less wasted time, more efficient consultations, and a more efficient intake process. They are great for priming, and it's one of those film it once, use it in perpetuity type of things. So one of the themes you'll probably see is the idea of content multiplication and taking these themes and these questions and these pillars of content and using it in a whole bunch of different mediums. Um, the other thing that I think is so helpful about video is that lawyers can be scary. It can be intimidating. A lot of times people in, the moments before they're reaching out to an attorney are in a very vulnerable state. Something likely just happened to them, depending on your practice area, that, has them probably a little bit shaken. And the idea of talking to an attorney can be really intimidating. And so these videos do a great job of breaking that barrier down just a bit, establishing some trust, establishing that credibility, and letting people know who they're going to be working with, who they're putting this, matter into the hands of. So videos do a great job of showing those PNCs, your potential new clients, who you are and how you can help them. But like the blogs, they let people get valuable information from you and answer their common questions, hence the FAQ skew for the videos that we like to do. So let's get into scoring on video and see how everybody's doing. So again, 1 point for each of these criteria, assuming that you have those. If there are any questions about, maybe I've, done a little bit of this, will it count? I'll allow half points, but nothing too much beyond that. Eddie loves to give a half point for stuff.
Oh,
Um,
I mean, I got through college because of half points. So thank you.
yeah, they count. So and the two of those will equal a whole one. There you go. A little bit of the math. But no, the first one here is just that you are answering common questions. And I would even say to Eddie's point before about the practice areas that you are focused on currently. So if you have a batch of these about personal injury, but now you're focused exclusively on criminal defense, we've got to have some that reflect accurately what it is that you're doing. Shorter than 3 minutes. The attention spans of everyone continue to dwindle, probably due to TikTok. I'm not mad at it. I'm part of it, I'm sure, but keeping them short and concise, I think, is going to be the key to making sure people actually watch them through. And at least 12 posted, I guess, after the previous year. So within the last year, some new content coming in there. Doesn't necessarily have to be at least 12. If you've done 10 in the last year, I'll give you the pass to go ahead and check this one off.
Oh, easy.
But easy peasy. But
Oh,
12 is good. It's like one a month. It's really not too bad. We recommend batching them. Do a whole bunch at once. You have content in perpetuity. And then from there, once those videos are done, get them out there in front of everyone on social media and in your newsletter. I would say if you've done them, at a minimum, they should already be on your website, probably on like YouTube as well. So that one hopefully goes without saying. But yes, get some mileage out of them in the channels where people are already going to be on their social media feeds and in their inbox.
Absolutely.
So a point for each of those, and your max should be 10 so far. Did my math
10,
right.
10,
So
10.
10, 10, 10.
Email marketing, as someone who is a former copywriter, I know that this should be right up my alley. So here we go. I mean, email marketing, it's just we do a lot at Spotlight Market. We don't do billboards, but we do a lot. We're a pretty wide-ranging agency, and a lot of times people say, "What's the most important thing?" If you pick one thing, if you've been to any of our webinars, you've heard us say it. You've heard Danny say it. Odds are it's going to come down to the newsletter. That's probably the thing you should probably most have. And the reason it tracks back to that, because I mean, the ROI on a newsletter is astronomical because it's so cost effective. I mean, for every $1 spent, depending on where you look, it's between $36 and $42 returned to you. Now, what does that mean? How does a newsletter go from going out to your email newsletters to actually generating that sort of ROI? And the fact is, it's a form of awareness. Um, if people will not remember you if you do not remind them you exist. And I've said this story a bazillion times, and I'm sorry you've heard this before, Jenny. I know you've heard this before. Is that I'm a very happily divorced individual, as is my ex-wife. We're both very good friends now, but I loved my divorce attorney. He was great. Well, we get along very well. We worked together very closely for about 3 months. At the end of that 3 months, someone asked me if I could give my guy a referral. It's like, who did you use? I'm about to go through something like that myself. I could use an attorney. No idea what his name was. I swear, I had no idea. This was after 3 months of very closely working together. And the fact is that people are not going, if you don't want to be in that position, you don't want to be in a position where someone asks, "Do you know an attorney?" and they pause. How many thousands of dollars are we losing in that moment? That is a key moment. And if you remind people with the newsletter, just simply that you exist once a month, you create that sort of awareness. So when the referral time does happen, that response comes up because I remember you. You know, the funny thing is about a newsletter, and people's like, well, no one's going to read it. Well, we'll get to that in a moment. But even if they were to archive it, delete it, whatever, they still saw your name once a month. Odds are you're going to be about the neighborhood of about a 30% open rate. I studied numbers for a long time on email newsletters. I'm a huge advocate of them. I've written them, I've published them for our agency. And people also say, well, won't my clients get annoyed? No, not if you give them a reason to open it. I mean, you're an attorney, you have valued information. You've been in situations where you've been at parties and say, oh, you're an attorney, I have a question for you. Professionals get these questions when they're cornered. And it's for good reasons because you have access to information that they don't have or information they don't trust. But if it's coming from you, they trust you. It's much better than me going on AI, which people do, or people just randomly Googling because they have direct access to an attorney. They're going to trust your source. And if you're answering the types of questions they have, they will engage with you. So let's take a look at the grading criteria for a newsletter right now. Number one, you give yourself a point if you even have a newsletter. Because, I mean, when we did our last trends report, I think it was not this one, but the last one before it, we had upwards of 60% of people did not either have a newsletter or they did it inconsistently. So for the thing that we're saying is that one of the most valuable pieces of marketing components you can have, you're putting yourself into an elite category just by having one. Again, 60% of people are either not doing it or they're not doing it consistently. So give yourself a point, even if you have a newsletter, but that's a good thing. Now, I will say the consistency is key because I'm going to drag on from what I just said is that you do have to have sent it out at least once a month for the last 6 months. So having one is one, but sending it out once a month for the last 6 months, I'll give you that's another one. Now, the other thing too is we get this a lot of times. I mean, for whatever, it's become like almost a small like internal joke about newsletters is the cookie recipes. For whatever reason, I don't know why, is that people are very keen on putting cookie recipes into their newsletters. I have nothing wrong with cookies. I promise cookies are
Same.
delicious, but they don't, but the thing is, even if you have the world's best cookie recipe in your newsletter, that is not what you want to be remembered for. The thing that people are going to carry around is like, okay, do you have a cookie recipe? Oh yeah, so and so has a cookie recipe. That's not what we want. That's not the moment. That's not the key to get you a referral. If you have it might get you engaged, but it won't get you remembered for the right things. And people stack engagement or attention above getting remembered for the right things. I'd rather two people remember you for a lawyer, being a lawyer and being what your practice area is, than 40 people remembering you for your cookie recipe. All right. The other thing too, I also give you another bonus point. If you have more than 1,000 people on your email list, this is a big number. I mean,
Mhm.
if you have 500 to 250 to 500, give yourself a pat in the back. But nothing wrong with that. There's our ways to build that, and we'll get to that in the lead gen section. But give yourself another point if you have at least 1,000 people, because this is where your referrals come from. Your referrals are gonna the more people you have on that e-newsletter list, the more referrals you're gonna get. And once you plateau, you either have to introduce other marketing elements, again, which we'll talk about, or you're gonna have to bump that number up. You're going to see a correlation between how many referrals you get and how many people are on your e-newsletter and your e-newsletter list. And by the way, these are your best salespeople. If they remember you and they've trusted you and you've taken care of them the way most attorneys do, then they will come back and they will pay it back. They will pay it forward in kind. Just let them remember you. And the last thing is that you have a method for adding people to your newsletter list. Because again, it's not just enough to send a newsletter. We've got to build this list up because that is going to be your referral source. The more people you have, the more referrals you're going to generate. So a lot of times people do this with lead magnets on their website, the 5 most important things to do in a family law or family law divorce, whatever. Anything that encapsulates you. They click on it, they put their name in, they put their email address in, all of a sudden it gets factored right into their CRM. So you have to have a method for building it. Even if it's just you going to networking events or going to events and getting names on a piece of paper and putting it yourself, that still counts. Not the most efficient, but again, you do have to have a method for building that. So it is a living, breathing thing that we got to keep feeding. So that is my spiel on email. And again, too, if you have any questions, I mean, I talk really fast. If you have any questions in the chat, put it on everyone, fire away, and I promise we'll answer. We're done.
Absolutely. And that brings us to the halfway point. So yeah, go ahead and throw into the chat how you're doing so far with your score, if if you want to. And it's okay if they're a little bit low, that's all right. We have some action items and some takeaways. I would say anything that you didn't get a point for so far and moving forward is something to focus on. It's a great initiative to start working towards. So feel free to throw anything in there along with any questions. Yes. And let's see. Yes, there we go. We do have a custom offer just for all of the attendees here. So we have a QR code. Thank you, Mike. Feel free to scan that. Because it's going to actually take you to a page where you can schedule a call with us to talk specifically about some of the areas in which, you could have some improvement. So maybe there are a couple of these pieces that, you would love some assistance with, whether it's some content, some different checklists, some info that we have. So we'd be happy to talk with you about it. And we do actually have a special little offer that we will get to in just a little bit. But you'll see this QR code, I think, on the rest of the slides, if I'm correct. I think that'll stay there in case you miss it here. But yes, we're going to have essentially anything that you are scoring low on. We'd even say the one that you are scoring the lowest on, we will have a custom offer for you based on that. So if you're like, you know what, I have not blogged in a year and a half, I know that's something that I need, we will likely either heavily discount it, maybe even throw it in for free based on the package that you're doing. So yes, feel free to grab a time there. And I see, oh, Mike asked if anyone does have a perfect 15 so far. I would love to know if anyone is at a perfect score so far, or who our highest score even is. So feel free to throw that in there. But we'll keep the there it is. Oh yeah, the QR code's there. So we can go
Still there.
into our next one. Yeah, which is social media. Now we're getting into some of the channels, some of the fun ones here. So I love social media, if it's not very obvious. I would say that 2.5 hours a day that people spend on the platforms is probably a little bit low. I might be skewing that average up just a bit with my TikTok scrolling, but it's massive. I mean, the social media shift and just the new platforms that are coming out, social media is just as active as ever. And it serves two purposes. One is awareness. And the other is that the people who are looking at your social media platforms are using some sort of using them as like a credibility piece, helping to see, that credibility, we call it ACE sometimes, accountability, credibility, expertise. But not authority, sorry, not accountability, authority, credibility, and expertise. But they want to know that, someone that they're going to reach out to has an active presence, that they are putting out helpful content and information and educating their potential clients. So they want to see if this is someone that they can trust and see if you're answering the questions that they already have that will oftentimes segue into that consultation. And similar to the newsletter, avoid the cookie recipes. I know sometimes, we can throw in some holiday posts, we can throw in some different third-party articles and some, behind the scenes action. People, I think, really resonate with some of the behind the scenes photos and then very organic type of content that attorneys will put out. So a nice blend there. And the biggest thing I can say is you do not have to focus exclusively on likes and comments on your post. I think this is one that we get a lot. I know, Eddie, you've probably seen it too, because I know you were doing a lot of writing of social media content, and it could
Indeed.
be the most wonderful graphic, the most, grabbing blurb that someone's ever seen. But sometimes certain areas of practice just don't lend themselves very well to people engaging with them. I mean, Eddie is very out and proud about his divorce, but some people probably are not as comfortable going on social media saying, I loved the process of my divorce, working with XYZ law firm.
Yeah.
And so, especially, criminal defense, I think, is another good one that people aren't necessarily going to engage with quite as much, most likely. So worrying about those metrics can be a little bit of a, I guess, a shift from, what the true metrics are, which are reach, and then ultimately, people that are going there, seeing all of your posts, and then reaching out to you. So top of mind awareness is huge. You want to be part of the narrative where people already exist, like their social media feeds. I think we can go, yeah, we can go ahead and go into the scoring for this one. And I will say there is an extra one that we'll get to on the last one, the boosted post. But now, first off, on social media, and I am not going to be platform specific. I think there are definitely some big ones. I think Facebook and Instagram are huge. LinkedIn, I still am a very big fan of LinkedIn. TikTok, I'm very on TikTok, but I would say at least a couple of platforms. Don't necessarily feel like you have to post on every single one. But if you've posted 5 times in the last month, you can give yourself a point to start. Eddie, what's your favorite social media platform?
Instagram.
Ah, Instagram.
I
I know
follow like
TikTok.
19 different surfers on there and just stare at them like a weirdo. That's just kind of what I do.
That sounds right. That
Mm.
sounds right. Here we go. Post on at least 4 different social media platforms. So I named off a few, but as long as it's at least 4, I mean, you could throw, I know Reddit's making a little bit of a resurgence. I've seen a lot of groups and a lot of people mentioning they've had people
Definitely.
find them on Reddit
Definitely.
and that their ads are doing a lot too. So yeah, you don't have to even be within the mainstream top 4. Next, posting legal content. I would say of those 5, at least 5 of the posts need to be legal content. So if you posted 10 times and at least, 7 to 8 of those were legal specifically, I love that. I think you can have some behind the scenes photos as well that will be a slight,
Definitely.
a slight adjacent to that.
Yep.
Videos. If you don't have videos, what are we doing? We gotta have videos. I mean, a lot of platforms, I mean, this like Reels and YouTube and Shorts and TikToks, they are so video centric, but using those on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn as well, I think is huge to get the mileage out of them. And I think that is where people are gravitating towards. And then boosted posts. So on Meta's umbrella of LinkedIn and Instagram, along with LinkedIn or Facebook and Instagram and then LinkedIn, you can do boosting. And this is kind of a two-folded approach when it comes to social boosting and retargeting. One is you can actually put a pixel on your website that will follow around any of your website visitors as they go onto their social media platforms. And the second one you can do is take that email newsletter list that we're going to continue to grow, like Eddie talked about. You upload that into the business manager for either Meta or LinkedIn, and you can then start retargeting everyone on that list who has a matching profile, with their email address. So it's a great way to get some cross promotion out of it. So if you're doing any level of boosting, give yourself another point. So those are my tips for social media. And now I think we'd be up to 20. Is our max?
Yeah, should
Woohoo.
be. I think I got
Thanks.
two more graded sections. And
Ooh.
if your name is
Oh.
Ed or Jeff or Sue or Dave, people I've talked to in the past, you want to throw your score up there, I'd be most appreciative. I just want to see where we're at. No
I
worries.
know.
So here, yeah,
Beauty and the Beast are definitely at 20 so far.
I hope so. I mean, if we're a marketing agency, we're underscoring on this. That is a problem. But sorry, so we're going to talk about lead gen. I mean, this is the funny part about lead gen is a lot of times people go into this first. Now, there's a very reason why we did the order that we're doing this in. I mean, so we're lead gen is something that comes beyond content. So once you have the foundation of content, now we can start getting to lead gen. And a lot of times people say, well, I have plenty of business and word of mouth. Totally cool. I get that. I mean, there are definitely firms that exist that have all the work they want, and they're at a position where they're like, this is comfortable for me. This is the amount of work. This is my capacity for growth. Because going beyond this will require more attorneys, and I'm just not interested. That is your prerogative. In that case, you want to hone in on the referrals. You want to hone in on driving as many referrals as you can. You want to hone in the newsletters, the organic social media, the boosting, the blogs, networking, and pulling more people in. So yeah, that is going to keep you alive. However, there are definitely other firms that definitely have a larger capacity for growth. I mean, and again, there's no right or wrong answer here, and I'm not choosing one over the other. Just what is your law firm's needs at the moment? And there are firms that still just want to maximize the referral, but the other firms want to grow beyond the business that the referrals will create. And like I said before, the referrals are going to plateau. And again, if you're not okay with that, you either have to grow your audience. And again, you can just do that by networking, but again, you can see clients outside of what your existing network and audience is. And one of the first ways you can do that, and I always break it up into farming and hunting, and this is what the hunting element is that you're going out in beyond your network. You're going out beyond people that don't know you. You're reaching people that do have a legal problem or a legal need. They just haven't made the connection that there's a legal need, and you're the catalyst to get them through that. So, like for example, like we run ads on Meta, Facebook, and Instagram, LinkedIn, and Google. And we're very specific on the types of campaigns you run on each. I mean, we're gonna go down this, but I mean, for example, like Facebook and Instagram. I mean, they tend to have slightly colder leads, but there's about an ad spend. For us, it's about $700 a month ish. And the first thing you're going to ask me is like, well, why would anybody want a cold lead? Especially why would I ever want to go to Facebook or Instagram? And that is a genuine question. But like, look at this. There are a lot of people who know they need an estate plan. I mean, everybody, if you're an adult, you need an estate plan. Absolutely. But odds are they're not going to be calling an attorney in the next 24 hours to start one. There will be people that have, but the majority of those people is like, this is a need I have, it is a need in the future. It's tax season right now. My son's going off to college, et cetera. These are all needs I have. I just know that they have to get to them. So then you start implementing the things we talked about earlier. They start the once someone starts getting into an ad, they download an article about how to build an estate plan, the different components, how a college student might need an estate plan, what to do if your parents are aging, any sort of article that speaks to your type of crowd or the people that need your services. Then once they download that, okay, now they start getting your newsletter. They start seeing your social media posts. I mean, if they run on your website, like Jana mentioned, they have the pixel that's going to follow you around on a social media post. And all these get reminded. And again, we've mentioned top of mind awareness, the newsletter, but the top of mind awareness also works with lead gen because now you're nurturing them. You've brought them into your sphere, but now you're going to nurture them and keep them there until they're ready to actually pull the trigger. And you can start seeing how all these pieces fit together. Why you need a blog, why you need social media to build credibility, how you pull people in, how do you maintain their interest if they're not ready to book a lawyer, book a consultation with a lawyer for another year? And again, that's fine. But again, we have to nurture them because, I mean, at some point when they're ready to pull the trigger, Mr. Pudding scored too low to manage. Okay. Thanks, Jeff. I love you, man. You're awesome. But and like we'll also go like that was Facebook and links that I mentioned. But I mean also like LinkedIn, for example, it's very good for B2B. It's going to cost you more than what a Meta ad is going to cost. Now, for us, we're going to look about $1,700 to make a dent on it, and that's an ad spend. Now, conversely, if you start looking at places like Google, Google is going to have the hottest leads. And I'm looking at you, PI attorneys, criminal law attorneys, people whose clients need an attorney yesterday. There's a high sense of urgency there. They don't have time to be nurtured. I mean, they're not going to deal with the charge they're facing a year from now. This is happening now. The downside with Google is that yes, they are the hottest leads, And if you're a type of attorney that needs clients or this like looking at clients that will probably need an attorney yesterday, or you're putting it into a more aggressive strategy because you have the budget to do it, go for Google. I mean, you're still looking at upwards of $2,200 a month in ad spend. That's kind of where we're looking at in terms of making a dent in your ad spend. So yeah, it's like not only is it the right platform, is it the right platform for what you need? Is it the right platform for the type of clients you're looking for? Is it the right, is it, we talk about ideal clients. It's not only enough to know who your ideal client is, where are they hanging out? Where are they hanging out digitally? And that is why we start looking at the different crowds and the different types of services and the different responses that we're going to get from different ad spends on different platforms. Now, let's just take a look at the scoring criteria here. So if you're gonna start looking at points, I give yourself a point if you run ads. I mean, this is a big step.
Mhm.
Whether or not you started first with ads and you put it you put the horse in the buggy. I always confuse that. But if you put that thing, whatever the thing's in front of the other thing, too quickly, okay, that's fine. But at least you stepped in the ad game and you've got at least experience in that, which we can leverage later. Now, give yourself another point if you don't have a negative ROI on your ads. So many times we've met with people that are very hesitant to run ads because they've lost money on them. If I've lost money on a marketing strategy, you have every right to be worried. You have every right to be cautious. That doesn't mean that ads don't work. There's a lot of people they're working for. I mean, we run ads. I mean, so there are like if you don't have a negative, just because you have negative ROI doesn't mean ads are bad. Promise. We've turned it around for several of our clients. Now, give yourself another point. If the platforms you advertise on were chosen in conjunction with a strategy as opposed to popularity. And what I'm saying is that as I went over the difference between Facebook, LinkedIn, and Google, and a lot of times people are like, well, I got to get to Google. Google's the king. Okay, fair. I will point out, and Mike can correct me if I'm wrong here, we don't use Google for our agency all that often. All right. We and I when I was a copywriter for this agency and we did a lot of ads, my ads focused on Meta. Again, we had a very strategic situation in terms of who we were targeting, who we wanted to meet with, and the types of clients we wanted to work with, and that's why we did it. So just don't choose popularity. Actually, there's actually a method behind why you're choosing that specific platform. That's where your audience is hanging out. My man. Thank you, Mike, for the
There you
backup. All right. And the other thing too is like ads, if you have a negative ROI on ad spend, it might not be the ads, it might be your intake system.
go.
All right. Give yourself a point if you have an intake system that will contact leads as they come in. You're talking pennies on the dollar. If you're waiting too long to contact a lead, you've lost it. I mean, so a lot of times I've met with people that said we don't have an intake system yet, and I said we are not ready to do ads for you yet. I said it's you're going to lose money, and I can't have that on my conscience. And again, I want a long-term relationship, so I can't have you losing money. There are people that said I'm building an intake system, and once they're ready, now we can start launching ads because a lot of times people will not call their leads or if, more effectively, they're running ads and they don't have the intake system to back it up. This is a very important component. And last but not least, if you've set it up that your leads from your ads are going directly into a CRM, give yourself another point because I have no idea how that works. I mean, I'm more of a typewriter kind of guy in a notebook, but Mike does. And I said when our clients work with us, I mean, that's what we do. We build ads. All your leads get funneled directly into your CRM, and that's what we want. So if you were one of the savvy people that are able to set this up like Mike is, that's awesome. Give yourself another point. So that is all 5 points for the lead gen ads. All right, Janet, kick us home with website.
Can do. And you'll see a lot of these even blend together. So someone who comes in through your lead generation ads should also get on your email newsletter list and get some of the, potentially like a nurturing drip sequence even. So maybe a bonus point if you have a drip sequence for people that come in. Well, maybe you can get 31.
I'm cool with that.
But the website, oh, I feel like the websites they can be so misunderstood. I love talking about the website. So here's an exercise that we're going to do. I guess not necessarily together, but something, a little bit of homework. It takes no more than a few seconds. Have someone who does not know you go to your website, look at it for 3 seconds, and then ask them what you do and see what their response is. It is a great measuring stick just to see what does an unbiased person think when they land on your website, which is Oftentimes what happens when someone is referred to you, they go to your website, and Eddie, I think you've even mentioned this stat before. It's 2 to 3 seconds that you
Yeah,
have when someone lands on your website, for them to determine, are they going to look deeper, do some research, or are they out and calling the next guy? So
absolutely.
everything above the fold. So everything above the fold, which is basically all you can see without scrolling, that needs to be something that grabs people. It lets them know immediately who you are and how you can help them. So, your potential new clients also, I will say, when it comes to looking at the visuals, they do not want to see the cliches. No more gavels, no more courthouses, Lady Justice. I'll see that a lot whenever like someone, maybe if they are just getting a website done and they maybe have the template and they go for all the legal things. People will know you are a lawyer from looking at it without having some of those in there. You want to know that, or you want your potential clients to know that they can trust you. You are going to guide them in a
Mhm.
way. Very much so, stealing a bit from Donald Miller, building a story brand. And that kind of goes into even your content, your headlines. Like, it should not include, like personal pronouns. It shouldn't be, we treat our clients like royalty, like Belle. No, it's, you're going to feel taken care of. You're not going to have Stockholm syndrome. That's its own thing, but it very much, the client is the hero, kind of giving a little bit of a spoiler into building a story brand. Your client is the hero. You are the guide helping them through
Mhm.
their situation to get to that happy ending. So you want all the design, all the content to really echo that, and not just be so, I am amazing, I am the beast, and I am wonderful. Nope, you want to be Belle. You want to be a little bit humble and let people know how you can help them. So, rule of
Bam.
thumb, for the tagline, no personal pronouns in there. So, that goes into all of the content as well. So when it comes to your blogs, all of the inner pages about your practice areas, even the about you page, it really should be how you can help them, and a little bit less maybe about some of your accolades, or all about, where you went to law school. I think having that in there is great, but really focusing on the problems that you solve is where the good is going to happen. And then when it comes to the design logo, I mean, logo, having one is great, but you don't necessarily have to have the most beautiful, just eye-catching, intricate logo ever. People don't hire an attorney based on that. You need something that lets people know they're in the right place. They can see that continuity, but don't feel like you have to go just so over and out when it comes to some of the design. It just needs to have a good user experience and be easy to navigate. Um, so, if you have a lot of trust and credibility on your website, I think you're going to be in the right place. But we'll go
Mhm.
into the five points here and see how everyone is doing. So, the very first thing, my cliches. Do you have gavels? Do you have courthouses? Scales of justice? No point for you. So sorry.
Ooh, so
Um,
rude.
no point. I mean, if it is your team, maybe on the team page posing, I don't know, and you got a courthouse in the background,
That's a pass. If it's your
I'll
team
allow
on the
it.
courthouse steps, that's cool enough. I'll give you that one. That's fine.
If you happen to be holding the scales,
No,
I'll allow that.
yeah, no stock images.
There
Cool.
you go. No
That's fair.
stock images of this. Your tagline, hopefully, which is also above the fold, is written through the client's point of view. You will get another point for that. And then this next one, I know it's got a few facets. So you need to have content. So you need to have, I would say, at least, two or three of these, between
Yep.
blog content, videos, active and correct links to your social media profiles. The amount of times that I'll click on them and they, go to an old page or something, not great. And then, of course, the newsletter sign up. So I know this kind of feeds into some of the things we've talked about already. So if you have at least 2 to 3 of those, you can give yourself a point, but maybe make a note of areas where you can continue adding content. And then the lead magnet, Eddie, you hit on this earlier. I think it
Yeah.
is massive. It is huge for credibility. It is a great way to generate new, leads coming in, to get them on your newsletter list and continue nurturing them. I think, yeah, the downloadable, uh, like checklists and sort of a white paper, even some sort of like, we've had family lawyers do a child support calculator, but to get, to do it, you put in your email address. So that kind of gated content in a way. And the big one, making sure it was either done or revamped in the last
Yep.
2 years. And that's, more than just adding the monthly blog to it, some sort of a more robust, refresh of the site to keep it looking modern, new, fix anything that is broken link wise, make sure it's like working as it should, mobile responsive, all of that. So a point for each of those.
Fair.
Mhm.
Oh boy.
So
Oh boy.
Let's see. Now, we should add them up again. You may be somewhere around like 30, 32, maybe with some of the bonuses we threw in there. But do not be shy. Like Mike said, feel free to throw your score in, or at least make sure that you are writing it down and maybe give like a little circle to the area that you score the lowest on, because as we alluded to earlier, that will be important for anyone, as we were talking after the fact about where we might can, do something custom and special to make sure that that area really sees some good improvement. Eddie, what would you say our score was? What was the Beauty and the
If we didn't
Beast,
get
Beast and Belle?
what I mean, I haven't written blogs for the company in a long time. The only time I was going over this is, I guess, I haven't been on that. The only thing I think I can't remember is if we're still doing if we're posting blogs every once a week or once a month for
At
the
least
last
once a
six
month,
months. I'd be shocked if we weren't.
twice a
Twice a
month is
month
our
is our
cadence.
cadence. Nice job, Mikey. All
Thank you,
right, there
Mike.
we go. That was the only thing that was the only question I had of ours that I didn't know if we did that we would lose a point on. But the other thing
No,
too, everything that we're telling you to do, I mean, is stuff that we've done ourselves. Most of the stuff Mike or I have done for the company. I mean, this happens regularly, and if we didn't believe it, we wouldn't do it, and we certainly wouldn't tell you to do it. Yeah, absolutely.
absolutely. Even I did. Wow, look at everyone on here has done some marketing stuff back in the day for Spotlight. Wow. See, we
Heck
we
yeah.
do. We practice what we preach.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I
Oh,
know.
3 for 3.
3 for 3. But now, hopefully, you have an action plan to walk away with. I hope you've identified a couple of the pieces that maybe you can focus on coming up, whether that's you, a specific member of your marketing team, or obviously, we would be more than happy to talk. But feel free to scan that QR code, and we are happy to strategize. We'll happily tell you what it is that Spotlight does, because as I'm sure you know, we do work with attorneys and we do all of the services that we just mentioned. Craziness, I know, but we are also happy just to brainstorm with you, give you any of the free content resources that we have that help out with this. I know we have several checklists that are, I think, really valuable in getting some of these elements ticked off. But yeah,
Feel like we have
let's
an
see if we.
offer here and there somewhere, don't we?
Oh, I mean, it's yeah, but it's a custom offer basically for anyone
Yep.
who scans this, schedules a call with this, you will get a custom offer based around the element that you scored the lowest on. So that's why I would say, put a big star or circle beside the one that, definitely has some room for improvement. And maybe it's a big discount on that service. Maybe it's even that service for free. Maybe it's, an uptick in frequency for that thing. If it's like social, it's like, we'll throw in double social. I don't know. We'll see.
All right.
Is
If I do any of these things, I can't get in trouble for it because I mean you are being recorded right now, so that
I
is
am being
happening. All
recorded.
right. Possibly free. All right.
Possibly
That's all
free.
I needed.
It
Works
sounds
for
like
me.
if you talk to Eddie, you might get to run
Yeah. I
pretty
mean,
far with that.
I mean, my boss just gave me the go ahead for free stuff, so I mean that works for me.
That's
Yippee-ki-yay.
it.
We're all friends here now.
Well, they work
Awesome.
in tandem, and I think that's part of it too. Is like,
Yep.
doing a blog in a vacuum is going to help some, but knowing it's part of a bigger strategy, I think makes it easier to say, well, we'll sweeten the pot a bit. So, excited to talk with everybody. Yeah, so feel free to go ahead
Always.
and grab that. And then if there are any questions, you are welcome to throw them in the chat. I know it's been a little bit quieter today. Hopefully, you just all been taking all your notes and doing all the mental math to see where you land. But would love to know. Feel free to just like send us a message after on how you scored, because I'm curious to see where everyone landed and kind of how the class did. See if we
Definitely.
need
I
to have
mean,
a curve, add a curve into it.
I
Yeah.
did get one. So I reached out beforehand. I reached out. I called a bunch of people I know. Kaylee, I talked to you. I was reaching out for questions, and someone was telling me, "Can I just write AI blogs? Should AI blogs why do an AI blog?" And I mean, Jenna, I'm happy to answer that unless you want to hit it.
I mean, you were a copywriter for Spotlight. I
Yep.
think I have some thoughts. We'll see. We'll see if you answer all my thoughts. I might chime in.
AI, and as far as I'm concerned, as far as the agency is concerned, is very much a writing partner. I mean, it's just there are elements. I mean, you can definitely tell when something is AI written. We're still studying right now the effects of content and its impact on AI search. We're very specific on formatting. We're very specific on like the bottom line up front, the executive summaries, the bulleted lists. So whereas like AI is good to start, we definitely edit, tweak, manipulate in order to get the most out of that content. So yeah, I would if I'd be a fool if I said don't use it. That's silly. But I'm just saying don't use it and don't give input into it. I think it's a pretty common answer right now for AI in general, in terms of how much input you want to give it. It's just not it's not a fire and forget weapon. But at the same time, you definitely want to put your input and tweak it to the point where AI search will impact. The other thing too is you definitely don't want to turn people off by showing you don't care. So there are so many things in AI writing. A lot of the M dashes, they stole those from me. I used to love M dashes, and they've completely ruined them for me. Shout out to James Joyce. But the M dashes, the colons in your titles should be questions. So I mean, AI is not going to format it and adapt it to a way that actually wants it that it needs. So that is one way of doing it. So I said yes, use AI, but definitely put it through the minds of a marketer or someone that's been studying AI or understands why the value of a blog exists and being able to establish that credibility and trust element. That was a great question I got earlier.
That is a great one. Nothing, I think you nailed it. A very, very similar to what I would say for sure, not using it without having a very thorough, look over it beforehand. I mean, and we've seen cases, I've seen them on the TikToks of, it citing incorrectly and producing
Yeah.
cases in case law that simply did not happen. And so there definitely has to be a level of checking through. And I think part of that too is, the types of blogs that we encourage you to write aren't going to be quite as technical as, citing case law. And so I don't think we need to worry about that as much. And I'm sure everyone on here knows not to blindly copy and paste whatever AI throws out at you. But it can be a great starting point. Even great for brainstorming topics. I think one thing that we've learned with AI search is that people they're starting on AI with more questions, a little bit more information gathering as opposed to those searching on Google.
Definitely.
And so writing content that just answers the questions that your like ideal clients are asking AI before they kind of get to the point where an attorney would be recommended. And that's been really insightful. Eddie and I have done a lot of AI audits lately. Would be happy to
Yeah.
do those with you too, where we go live through your like how we basically see if you get recommended on ChatGPT, Perplexity, Claude, Gemini. We go through and ask it questions as if we were your ideal client and see is your website coming up? Are you being indexed and recommended as someone that we should reach out to? So having content answering those questions is going to be a huge catalyst in making those happen more often. So I'll ask one more question. Maybe we'll get someone in the chat on this one. Have you yet had a client tell you they found you through AI search? And if so, do they mention the platform?
Ooh.
Curious about that. We have had a few. ChatGPT has been, I think, the largest majority of those
Yeah. Yeah,
for Spotlight
definitely.
at least. Well, for Bell and Beast at least.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
that's what we've heard the
Spotlight,
most from.
not Beast and Bell Law, Bell and Beast. Still
But
arguing whose name comes first.
oh yeah, that's true. So curious if anyone has had anyone mention yet they found you through AI search. If not, I think there's a huge opportunity there, either in making sure you're more visible or your intake process.
Chat and
All this.
Perplexity. I love it. Yeah.
Ooh,
Perplexity. I
thank you,
know I
Kathy.
would have guessed Perplexity be the number two. I mean, because I know you when you do your AI audits, you definitely hammer Perplexity. I definitely hammer AI more and I really dive into the competitors element, but I know you really
Ah,
hit Perplexity a lot.
that's a good point too. Yeah, on Eddie's, he'll kind of look through some of the competition and say, okay, they're doing these things, and it seems to be working well. Maybe those are some other areas. So yeah, thank
Yeah.
you, Kathy.
We'll find out who your competitors are and we can help.
Yeah, I like it.
Works for
Well,
us.
that's what we have for today. So, we gave you guys 10 minutes back. Go ahead and start cranking away at some of the stuff on this list and feel free to reach out. We're happy to talk further, talk specifically about, your firm and where you're at. So I think with that, we are good to sign off.
That's
Oh, we
great.
always get this question. This was recorded. Thank you, Mike. So recording will be available for everyone. So we'll probably send out an email that has the recording, but feel free to forward it to anyone you know that you think it might be helpful for.
Thanks for spending the afternoon with us.
Awesome. Yes, we'll see you next time.